Now this is completely unrelated to the topic in tonight's video, however I feel like I need to mention it. Do you remember when Celtic beat Rangers in the first Old Firm of the season? Gerrard came out and questioned the referee after there was a sort of foul on the build-up involving Ryan Jack. Chris Sutton tweeted this, right? Oh, blaming the referee has cost us, right? Just making a fool of Rangers and Gerrard for saying anything bad about the referee, right? Roll on a couple of months later, not only lambasting the referees, calling the entire SFA out for a conspiracy against Celtic. So when they win, it's, haha, he's blaming the referee. But when his team loses, it's all a conspiracy. Woo!
Glorious! No, I won't give in till I'm victorious.
Hello everyone, this is CJ Novo 92 and today we are back for another brand new video. Today's video we're going to be doing another discussion type video discussing 5 players that should leave the Glasgow Rangers in January. It's a sort of flip on the last 2 videos that we've uploaded on the channel. The first obviously being the Stephen Davis and Jermaine Defoe news, which should be announced in a couple of days time. They're all expected to join up in Tenerife for warm weather training. And obviously yesterday's video, which was officially announced today by Rangers' Twitter account, confirming that Jordan Jones and Glenn Kamara has signed on pre-contract. So I thought today let's flip it on its head and discuss 5 players that should be leaving the club in January. Hopefully get involved in the comment section below. That's what it's all about. But before we get anywhere near today's video, I just want to announce that we hit 24,000 subscribers today, and honestly I've not had a smile off my face the entire day since we hit it. That is absolutely incredible number that we hit because of you guys joining, getting involved in the comment section, and obviously tuning in each and every single day. I can't thank you guys enough. It's honestly absolutely incredible. Now our journey is to 55k, but 24,000 subscribers is absolutely nuts. And now it's time to set our focus to 25k. So if you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing. But once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for 24,000 subscribers. But now it is time to jump into today's video then, shall we? 3, 2, 1. Honourable mentions time. Before we get into the 5, I thought it would be important to mention that I will be mixing this top 5 up because I felt like if I included players that's currently already out on loan, it'd be painfully obvious. You would guess it would be a pretty boring video. So none players that's currently out on loan will be in my top 5 players to leave in January. But obviously they need to be mentioned because they do need to move on. They do need to get off the wage bill. So that's obviously Jason Holt. Sorry, Mark. You've got Hodson. Don't. Big Sexy Herrera too sweet, that's right. Some people actually think he's already left the club, but believe it or not, we are still paying a percentage of his wages and he's currently out on loan. So whenever that loan expires at the end of the season, we need to get him off the wage bill. And obviously Jan Anik as well. Very good goalkeeper, but it is time to move on when his loan expires. But let's jump to my 5 now and start off with the 5th position. This one is Sayre right in there. Did that rhyme? Now the man who's at number 5 on the list of players that need to leave in January is none other than Mr. Lee Wallace. That's right, I'm sorry Ross Watson in the comment section. However, Lee Wallace is number 5 on my list. Now, as I mentioned 2 days ago when he was linked with Bristol City, I've got a lot of love and respect for Lee. And in a perfect world, he would have lifted number 55 and retired at the football club. But the facts are facts. Lee Wallace is fully fit. He's still got a lot of football in him and he wants to be playing football. He's not happy with the ambassador role or sitting on the bench sometimes coming on for a minute or two. The man wants to get back and play some football before his football career is done. Because football careers are short. They're extremely short. And then you've got your whole life after that. And the man just wants to get back and play some football, so I'm not going to begrudge him for that. So he's not going to get it at the Glasgow Rangers. I think that was quite obvious to see, not only with Stephen Gerrard's comments sort of discussing pecking order and how Lee Wallace isn't near the top, but also the fact that Dave King during the AGM spoke about Graham Murray being his man of the year. That sort of shows that Dave King is kind of sided with Murray versus the whole Murray versus Wallace scenario. So I think the nail's in the coffin on Lee Wallace's Rangers career, and I'm sure he's going to be leaving in January. So as much as I love the guy and I respect him for everything he's done, he needs to move on. He needs to get back playing football, and we need to use whatever wage he is on to improve our current squad. So he's number 5 on my list. Number 4 on the list may or may not surprise you, but his name is Lassana Coulibaly. Now, before some of you may or may not get angry in the comment section, there is a couple of reasons why he's number 4 on my list for his loan to be cut and sent back to France. You think of Lassana Coulibaly, he's played 25 games, he's only got 2 goals and 2 assists. And we have Stephen Davis coming into the squad now. And you think of the midfield performance that we actually put in against Celtic. We had Ross McCrory, who's just getting better and better. He's really came into his own in the last 2 or 3 months of the first half of the season. He started to gain Stephen Gerrard's trust, and he's made that centre defensive mid spot his own, in my personal opinion. And also in the midfield, you have Scotty Arfield as well, with a lot more goals, a lot more assists. And as you saw in the Old Firm game, he can do the dirty side of thing as well, and also bully a midfielder, as you can see in that picture as well. So he's got that edge of his game as well. And last but not least, in the midfield, in the starting positions anyway, you have none other than Mr. Ryan Jack, who for me has been Rangers' Player of the Year in the midfield. He can do it all, intercept, defend, but also get forward and score important goals. All joking aside though, you can see the new position that Ryan Jack's got. It's a wee bit more further forward, and he has been involved in a lot more going forward. So I imagine goals and assists will certainly come for Mr. Ryan Jack. And that's, like I said before, even Stephen Davis comes. So you think of that midfield, you think of Davis in there. Where is Coulibaly going to play? If anything, he's just going to be a bench warmer for the last 6 months of the season. So for me, personally, why not just cut his loan short, send him back to his parent club in France and get him back playing football as well? Because for me, I think he's just a waste of the wage that we're obviously covering during the loan period. And I know he had some good performances at the start, but now as we reach the halfway point, I think he's had a lot more bad games than he has had good. So that is why he's number 4 on my list. Now number 3 on the list, a lot like number 5, is pretty hard to say because I like the guy so much. He's so likeable, but this is football, it's a business, and you need to be churning out performances each and every single week and be available for selection to put in those performances. And that is kind of why I'm putting him at number 3 on my list. It's none other than Mr. Jordan Rossiter. And even hurts me to say in my throat saying that because he's such a likeable guy. Every single time he's been involved with the squad, he has a talk with Rangers TV and during interviews. I remember when we got beat off Progress, he was one of the few that actually stood up and was brave enough to speak to the press, and he spoke like a true leader. He's got so much potential, and I understand that. I know he's still extremely young, but we all expected when Gerrard came into the squad that he would really take over. He's been fit for a while now, but still, even under Steven Gerrard, who admires him so much, he's not forcing his way into the squad. And when he has played, he's not been too special this season. And like I said in the previous point, we've got so many midfield players that stacked in form, playing well. Do you see Jordan Rossiter pushing any of them out? And especially given the fact that we've signed Glenn Kamara at the end of the season, again, that's another centre defensive mid, and you've got players like Greg Docherty coming back. Where is Mr. Jordan Rossiter going to play if he is available to play? And maybe not even selling him in January, but giving him a 6-month loan somewhere that he can play football and get games underneath his belt to see if he can hold up to the regiment of being a football player week in and week out. Because it seems to be, he comes in for a week, plays about a 7 or 8 out of 10, then he vanishes for 6 months. That seems to be the consistent thing with Jordan Rossiter. So maybe if he is fully fit, and he has been for a little while, give him a 6-month loan at a club that he's going to be playing in, maybe lower league, something like that. You know what I mean? Just somewhere that he's going to be playing week in and week out, guaranteed games, whatever club he goes to. And then at the end of his loan, we can reflect on it, look at his performances and see if he can be a player for Rangers in the future, or if it's time to cut ties. So unfortunately for me, that is why he's number 3 on my list. Number 2 on the list of players that should be leaving the football club in January is going to be a goalkeeper, and his name is Wes Foderingham. Now, if you followed this channel for a long time, I rate Fod. I actually really like him. I know I used to get a lot of criticism on the channel before we signed Shagger, but I was one of the few that always stuck up for him, rightly or wrongly. I'm not saying he's a spectacular goalkeeper, but for me, I always liked him. I thought he was a very good shot stopper. Yes, he had his faults, commanded the box, etc., but I thought he had more good games than he did bad for the Glasgow Rangers, and it wasn't necessarily his fault. You think of the centre-backs that was in front of him, Danny Wilson, Rob Kiernan, etc., etc. Taking a step back now, you see the form of Alan McGregor. He's going to get nowhere near him. Shagger is by far the best goalkeeper in the country, and he should be for a very long time yet, at least another 2 seasons at least. And you look at who's his understudy as well, number 3 at the football club. It's not even Jan Anik. He's away out on loan. It's actually Robbie McCrory, who has been putting in wonderful performances at under 21 level, especially for Scotland. He's got a growing reputation within the game. In my personal opinion, he is the one that's being groomed to be the future replacement for Alan McGregor. That is why Mr. Foderingham is number 2 on my list to leave in January. Now it's time for number 1. Let's build anticipations. Let's hit some drums. We've got a new camera. Have we got new content? Hit some. Yes, can you feel the build up? Woo. Number 1 on the list is going to be Carlos Pena. That's right. If you followed my channel in the last month or 2, I actually talked up the potential return of Carlos Pena because he looks meaner, he looks leaner, and he looks like he's fully fit, and that's what's all the talk's been. He's clean and he's fully fit. Could you think Carlos Pena, when he played for us the last time, he was half cut and he was still scoring in nearly every single game he played, and he couldn't even run. So you can imagine what he could have been at the football club, fully fit and ready to work. However, unfortunately, with the likes of Stephen Davis coming in, Jermaine Defoe, the likelihood of us needing a Carlos Pena to rescue us and rebuild his career at the football club is looking very, very slim. In fact, it's looking that slim that there's already talks of him moving to a club in Turkey. If I'm honest with you, if the deal does go through, I really, really hope it's a transfer and not another loan, because we have lost so much money paying for Carlos Pena to go and play in Mexico for 2 years. I know he had a lot of problems and I'm so proud of him getting clean, coming back and being ready, but if we are moving him on again, it needs to be a transfer. We cannot pay his loan again, because it's just been absolute incredible waste of money. You think how much money we brought him into the club as well. If he does leave in January, it needs to be a transfer, and that is why he's number 1 on my list. There's just too much money going out. He's on too much wages. That's going to be it from my side of things. That is my top 5. Now I'm going to jump over to Twitter and the Patreon account to see what the people's had to say and who's in their top 5. But if you're watching this video and you haven't done so already, get involved in the comment section below and let me know what you're thinking. Who makes your 5 list to leave in January? So let's start off with the patrons as well, because they're absolute legends to help improve the channel. The Evil Scotsman says Lafferty's number 1 for him and Foderingham's number 2. So at least we share that, putting Fods at number 2. And he says, that's it for me, to be honest with you. So his list is just Lafferty to leave the club in January and Foderingham to leave as well. James Lee chips in with Wallace, Lafferty, Flanagan, Coulibaly loan at number 4. Similar. And Grezda, that's actually a bit of surprise seeing Grezda there. Now, over to Twitter then, and let's see what the people's had to say as we get it loaded up. Transition. Danny Taylor says, Worrell, Pena, Herrera, Wallace. Sorry, but I have too much respect for him to be sitting on the bench. He does you proud, but needs to leave and actually play football. And his number 5 on his list is Mr. Jan Anik. Ross Watson says anyone but Wallace. Chris McLaughlin says Ajaya's gone already, hopefully followed by Wallace and Pena. Rossiter on loan, and Foderingham to leave as well. Mega Mike says a few of them who are out on loan, I'd go with Hodson, Pena, Anik and Mr. Dodu. That's a surprise, because he's doing extremely well down in Blackpool. And he also writes, as much as he's been an incredible servant for us, Lee Wallace probably won't get much more game time. Now let's go rapid fire to finish the video off. XO says Goldson, Worrell, Flanagan, Lafferty, Foderingham. I mean, that was a real surprise seeing Goldson there. Really? That's a surprise. Glasgow Boy says Glenn Middleton, the boy is just not there yet and he is not a guaranteed game changer, so let him go on loan. That's fair enough. Reese Linen says Holt, Pena, Herrera, Hodson and Dodo. Also CJ, love the videos. Thank you so much, mate. James says I think a few are a given. Pena is a must, he's on very high wages. Herrera, Dodo, Holt and Jordan Rossa. A controversial one, but I don't think Grezda's anywhere near our level. Would maybe send him out on loan. And the last one that we'll actually read out before my laptop actually dies off comes from Delightful Dalcio, damn it. Rossiter, loan, Pena, Herrera, Holton, Ford and Anik. So there it is, ladies and gentlemen. You've heard the People's 5. You've also heard mine. If you haven't done so already, you know what to do by now. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, the link for that will be in the description below, which is going straight to improving the overall experience on the channel. The content hopefully will improve as well, as the equipment does. You never know. I've been CJ over 92. Thank you so much for watching, and bye-bye.